Hi, Boomer and Gio coming to you live for the Bill Ford Tough Studio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network. It is a pleasure right now to be joining us in studio. St. John's men's head basketball coach Rick Pitino, whose team got off to a great start against Quinnipiac. Really impressive, and have a huge showdown at the Garden on Saturday at noon against Alabama, who I believe is ranked 15th. So this will be a great opportunity to head over to the Garden, see great college basketball in November. I know there are some tickets still available, but not a ton, so jump on it and get to the Garden for his early season matchup. Coach, good morning. Thanks for joining us. How are you?
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So I know you don't love praising the team early on, and I understand why, but I got to say, as a St. John's fan, watching you guys play basketball against Quinnipiac is exactly what I was expecting and I wanted to see. So how I know it's a lesser opponent, no disrespect to them. We love Tom Pecora, but how do you now get that style of play against a team like Alabama and beyond?
Well, we played two great exhibition games. Once against Towson, who has been picked to win their league, and then Michigan, we played a great game against in the Garden. And now we go a different style of play entirely. This is the number one tempo team in the country. And yesterday I stood up top with a microphone watching the team try and prepare this style of play. So we put an 18-second shot clock. They don't take more than 18 seconds is a lot for them. And think about that, 18 seconds. So they cross half court in 3 seconds, and then they're going to shoot it within 7 or 8 seconds. So I'm watching the team, and we're going through about 30 minutes of prepping for this, and we're fast as well. And I was actually getting tired watching these guys play because it was a ping-pong match, and it's going to be very exciting. Our players love to play that way. But the best defensive team who doesn't turn the ball over is going to win this game.
Yeah, interesting. We've been talking about the Knicks and the NBA, and it seems like the NBA is all going to this style of basketball. I mean, this is not stop, run plays and all this. It's just like throw the ball out there and let the guys go and let them sprint, and everything's about spacing and passing and moving the ball and all that other stuff. I mean, obviously you've adapted to this. I mean, do you like this style of play?
Well, Alabama's a little different than us in this regard. They and really preach it. They do not believe in a mid-range shot. There's no Kevin Durant's running around at Alabama. They believe in the layup, get fouled, or shoot a three. The other day in an exhibition game, they took 3 mid-range shots, and the coach went ballistic on it. He said, we don't want that shot. So I'm not a believer now. I like the mid-range shot when available, but it's all based on analytics and statistics. I watched the Knicks last night, and they took an incredible number of three-point shots, but they were very effective. So it all goes back to defense. Your defense has got to be stellar. It has to be advanced. You have to change your defenses to different things if you want to adopt that offense.
You know, I've been looking at your schedule, and I know that you got the Vegas tournament that you're going to. That's the $1 million NIL tournament, right? And you got the CBS doubleheader down in Atlanta. I mean, you've basically now brought St. John's back to life. So how fulfilling is that for you?
It's great. You know what happened? Last year we lost to Arkansas, and when I watched the tape of that game, I said, they were longer, more athletic than we were. And so I scheduled 3 SEC teams this year. Kentucky, Ole Miss, and now Alabama. And they're all ranked. So we're going to see the athleticism. I wanted to get ready for that because I felt that was missing. Now, the Big East does not have that, but they have teams that can beat all those teams. You play a UConn can beat all those teams. But it's a different style of play. We're not as long. We're a little smaller, but we play a very, very aggressive defensive type of basketball. So the Big East can play against anyone except we're not as long and not as athletic. So I wanted to get ready for that and see how we would do against those 3 teams.
Talking some St. John's with head coach Rick Pitino on Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network. So you had 4 returning players that got their Big East championship rings the other night. And I read a quote from one of the new players this year, and I'm forgetting exactly who it was, that said, you know, once I saw that ring, I knew I wanted to get one of those as well. Now, what stood out to me is, I mean, I'm 30,000 feet up, but I didn't think the kids cared about stuff like that anymore, like actually getting the ring and winning it. I mean, I know they want to win, and I know they want to get ready for the NBA and all of those things, but does this group care about the championships and all of that stuff too? Because that's great to hear.
You know what? The greatest misconception is because they're being paid. I would say there's no difference than 20 years ago. The pay means nothing at all to them. Matter of fact, I would say that 90% of the players give the money to their families. So it's really not the compensation. If you watch us practice, you wouldn't think it was any different than 25 years ago when I was at wherever I was at. I'm coaching 53 years now, so I can't remember that quite that long ago. But our practices are great. No different than Kentucky, Louisville, Providence. We get after it, and the pay is look, I believe it. Obviously, Boomer, you played at Maryland, you didn't get paid. I think it's a really good thing for St. John's. Yeah. It may not be good for some of the other schools, like mid-majors. If I was still at Iona, it would hurt because Walter Clayton wouldn't be at Iona, and Danis Jenkins wouldn't be at Iona, and Nellie Joseph Jr., they would go elsewhere for the compensation. So it hurts mid-major basketball. But it also keeps the players around longer in college basketball.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Compared to Maryland, because I know this is probably one of the reasons why Scott Willard left, we have a Big Ten football program that and you have no money that you have to share with the players, or you can share with the players up to like $22 million or $21 million, whatever it is. The football team gets like $16 million of that, and Scott Willard would only get about Kevin Williams would get like $3.5–4 million of that. St. John's doesn't have to deal with that. You basically, these smaller schools without the big football programs, is that an advantage for you?
It isn't and isn't. So what happens at Maryland is the school will give them $3 or $4 million, but then they'll go raise privately another $5 or $6 million. So it's all basically the same. Kentucky spent, they say, $20 to $22 million.
Well, Kentucky, I would also say, is a basketball school first.
Yeah, but let's take Alabama. Alabama probably spent 14 or 16. So they raise it privately after what the school gives. Now, St. John's, they're like a bank for us. St. John's will loan us the money to pay the players, and then we have to go out. I'm out 2 or 3 nights a week trying to fundraise. Now, we do have Mike Rapoli,
yes,
who gives us about 40% of what we spend, and then we have to go raise the other 60 and pay the school back. So the school really is not giving us a whole lot.
So, but what about the nil? I mean, isn't there like a amount of money that the schools can actually now share with the players that you're bringing in? From
Yes, the school will pay it, but I would venture to say that schools like St. John's and probably Villanova have to go out and raise the money and pay the school back. So the school's really not giving that.
I thought the schools were supposed to share with the players.
Yeah, they do, but they share it after we give it back to them.
Sounds like a raw deal.
Yeah.
In defense of St. John's, look, St. John's is a school where kids that don't come from a lot of money, they work 2 jobs. They are what we call passionate, hungry, and driven kids, but we don't have a lot of money at St. John's. We do have a wealthy alumni base because they did it being passionate, hungry, and driven and made it to the top of Wall Street. But we have to do it the old-fashioned way. We have to go out and bang on doors and get people like you two to give. Both of you guys have given now $100,000 each to us.
Yeah,
we appreciate that.
That's right. You're welcome. I wasn't going to bring it up, but yeah.
Jesus.
You and Mike Getty.
Right. Yes. I did hand you money on the golf course, but I don't know where it went.
You're funny because when we were playing against you guys on the golf course, Gio hits this great shot on number 3. He was using his what'd you use there?
The hybrid.
Hybrid there.
Hybrid.
And he puts it right on the front of the green there, which is a par 3. And you said to him, "Man, Gio, you're really good." And I'm just like, you're reeling him in. You're reeling him in. You're getting him soft. And I had a whisper in his ear. I said, "Don't listen to him."
Well, he also said, you got potential. I said, I wish I was like a 6'7" shooting guard, and you told me that as opposed to a 43-year-old golfer. But I'll take it. So you talk about some of the guys coming back, and Zuby is the guy. Have you seen him mature from last year to this year and continue his leadership role? Where's he at right now?
Zuby's terrific. We have the type of team, and I really sincerely mean this. I can't tell you who the best player in the team is. Probably the guy with the most talent offensively comes off the bench, Josan Sanone, who transferred from Arizona State. He has the potential, if he learns to pass, guard, and do some other things, to be a first-round draft pick. He's very, very talented. So Zuby's the heart and soul. He's the captain along with Sadiku, but I wouldn't say he's the best player because it could be anybody on a given night. It could be Bryce Hopkins. It could be Dylan Mitchell.
Yeah.
It could be any of our guys, Ian Jackson. It could be any of our guys. It's just a matter of that day. So it's a well-rounded basketball team, 9 or 10 deep, and we're going to need to play the whole bench against Alabama because of their style.
Do you still coach the same way with the same fierce intensity? And do these kids respond to that?
You know, every story that I've heard from players at Kentucky or Louisville always is exaggerated, I believe, in the way they were treated. I don't coach the players today the same way I did at Louisville or Kentucky because they're different. Now, I can get on them, but collectively. I can't get on them individually because they get embarrassed very easily. Not that they're not tough. They just get embarrassed. So I bring them in one-on-one, and I show them the tape, and we talk analytically about the mistakes you're making. But they're the same players. They play just as hard as any team I've ever coached. It's just you got to handle them differently today. They're professionals. You got to treat them like pros, but you also have to be teachers. I teach the exact same way I did 40, 50 years ago.
So where you're at now, the energy is through the roof still. It doesn't look like at any point you have slowed down. And 2 or 3 nights you're fundraising, you see on the court, you've got all that energy. Have you felt at all like your age, or are you feeling still like a really young man? Because it's shocking to me how much energy you still have. It's more than me at 43 years old.
I think it's the love of the game. I absolutely love the game, love teaching the game, love watching the game. And I'm really trying to get the most out of New York, being a New Yorker. I'm a Yankee season ticket holder. If I can get in to see the Knicks, I'll go see the Knicks.
If you can get in to see the Knicks.
You know, I mean, on a given night.
Well, you're not Charles Oakley. They're not treating you like that. Come on.
No, I don't mean that. I mean from a schedule standpoint to get in to see him. But I love New York. Everybody's talking about the changes that are going to happen. I just had coffee down the street here waiting for you guys, and I ordered a biscuit, and I said, "Could I have some butter or jam?" And said, "Well, it's an extra $1." I said, "In another 3 or 4 months, everything's gonna be free." So I didn't get it. I'm waiting for Ben Wadi.
Well, that's what we do in New York. We just basically overblow everything. But, it is great, though. Like, you brought the liveliness back to the Garden. You love playing at Carter-Seca. I still think it's got to be great to play on campus. That's the one thing I will say about the University of Maryland. As much as I miss Cole Fieldhouse, which was the basketball arena when I was there, when Len Bias was running around and Albert King and all those guys, playing on campus is still a very special, I would imagine, exciting thing for the student body.
It is, but now we're getting the students 800 strong each game at the Garden. The Garden's really, really special. You know, we started out getting when I took over, they were getting 6,500 to 7,000. It takes us, we need 12,000 to break even. After that, we make money. In the last 7 games, we had 19.5. So it's starting to get exciting for the students. And that's probably, for me, the most gratifying, seeing how excited the students and the alumni base are. And as you know, about 40% of our season ticket package are Subway alumni. They're not people that went to St. John's, but grew up fans of Lou Carnesecca, fans of the Chris Mullen and Mark Jackson and Malik Sealy and all those guys. And it's now... we've reached a point where everybody's excited once again, and it's really stimulating our base.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely gratifying for me and my mom, who went to St. John's, who raised me a St. John's basketball fan. I mean, she's texting me nonstop during the game. I had to mute her the other day. She's 80 years old. she's into the whole thing. So I mean, it's great to see this. And I know that last year ended a little bit disappointing. Thought maybe you could go further, but with the expectation comes the pressure now too, which I know you are familiar with. But I hope that this roster, understands that as well.
The greatest thing about the NCAA tournament is, look, I've lost in the first round on an upset by Morehead State, making a 3-pointer at the buzzer, and I've been to 8 Final Fours. You never know when it's your time. You think you have a great team and you think you can get there. But I was at Boston University and I was preaching winning a national championship at BU. Mm-hmm. You always dream, you always have those goals, you have that passion to advance, but you just never know because it's matchups. I thought one of the greatest teams of all time in '96. I thought my second unit could have won the national championship. I had 8 NBA players. My 13th man was Nazi Mohammed, who played 18 years in the league. Yeah. But that team played one bad game the whole season, and that was the national championship game in the Meadowlands against Syracuse, because Syracuse played a 2-3 zone that stymied us.
Yeah.
And you could get into a matchup like that against a style that really hurts you, and you could be out of the tournament. But this year, I think we've put together a unit that can go against a zone, can go against pressure, can play slow, play fast, and that's exciting.
And what's going to be really exciting is seeing Alabama and St. John's at the Garden on Saturday at noon. There are tickets there. You just heard Coach say that getting the fans in there and how much it means to the program when the Garden is filled. So if you don't have plans Saturday, make plans to be at the Garden at noon to see St. John's and Alabama. It's going to be a really fun game.
It's going to be a great season. It really is. You know, I'm looking at these rankings right now. I don't know how much you pay attention to them. I'm sure you do some, and I know your players do. There's no question about that, because it is a sign of respect. So starting out as the 5th ranked team in the country, that's a lot to live up to.
It is, but it's exciting. Look, I'm 73, so to be 5th or be 1 is awesome. If you're not ranked, you're really worried that you don't have a very good team. And so the fact that we have talent, the fact that the players are being
look
ranked.
at those names on the rankings on the monitor here.
That's
you
what
got
we've been.
Purdue, Houston, Florida, UConn, St. John's, Duke, Michigan, you just played, Kentucky, Texas Tech, Louisville. UCLA, that's a who's who of college basketball. And St. John's is right in the middle of it.
And you guys understand this. In the 60s, going back to the Sunny Doves and then going on to the 70s and 80s, St. John's was the premier team in the East. And then in the 80s, they were awesome with the Mullen Group. And then early 90s, they made some headway. And then for 25 years, they were dormant. But now it's back. It's exciting. And to have St. John's, to have the Knicks both doing great is exciting for the city of New York. And we're pumped up. We're ready to go. And Alabama's going to be a really exciting game.
Speaking about the Knicks, you sense that Karl Anthony Towns lost a little weight?
A little. But he's playing great. I mean, I watched last night. Hart played great, and Brunson was terrific. And I'll tell you the big key to the Knicks last night was getting their center. If their center can stay healthy and not shoot free throws.
Yeah.
I hit Tibbs one time. I said, Tibbs, I can help him shoot free throws if you want to bring him over to St. John's.
Yeah.
And then I watched again last night. I said, maybe I can't.
Well, they scored 137 points last night. It was up and down. And this is Mike Brown's offense.
Yep.
You would know better than I would. I didn't think it was going to work. Initially, it didn't, and they had a 3-game losing streak on the road. But they have come back with a vengeance here at home. And Madison Square Garden now has become a home. This is a real advantage for them. And the way that Karl Anthony Towns has played the last 3 games has got to be just like music to Mike Brown's ears.
They're all playing great. The bench is coming in playing great. I like the team a lot. You know what's interesting about the Knicks when you watch them is if they can consistently shoot the 3, they can win the NBA championship. That was a little bit of a weakness, I thought, last year, consistently. But now they've had players that do it. They're great on the break. Hart's, I like him coming off the bench because he's such fire when he comes in the game.
He and Clarkson both.
Yes, no question. And I think they're good defensively. They're good enough defensively. I think they have the potential to win it all. The West obviously is loaded. I like Houston a lot. Obviously, the other teams are terrific.
OKC is great.
OKC hasn't lost yet.
Another one up and down, up and down, up and down. I mean, these guys are going 100 miles an hour. I don't know. Like I'm a '90s guy, so I was the '90s Knick guy, and also go all the way back to Red Holzman when I was growing up, man. And that was
remember throwing the ball in. It's triangle offense. Not Phil Jackson, but you throw the ball into Wilt or Russell, and you cut off him from the low post. You make all your cuts off the low post in a triangle low post. That's not happening.
No.
You're getting Karl Anthony Towns stepping in with the dribble 3 feet behind the line shooting a 3.
7-footer, yeah. Well, exciting basketball at the Garden with the Knicks and exciting basketball at the Garden with St. John's. And you can check it out noon against Alabama this Saturday. Coach, great seeing you. Thanks for the swag. This is awesome. And best of luck, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Coach Rick Pitino on the Fan and CBS Sports Network.